My name is Mike. I got out in '82 and we were in a deep recession back there, if you remember the days of Reaganomics. I couldn't get a job. They didn't care that I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps or what I was doing. They had no comprehension. And I lived in my car behind an oak tree behind a church. I took whatever life threw at me at that point. I didn't consider myself homeless. The lowest is when I just wanted to see what's it like to commit suicide. What is it like? But you know, what would my son, it wouldn't have been fair to my son to leave life at that moment. And finally, I woke up on a Friday morning and said, man, I gotta do something different. Then I went down to the VA. I talked to the social worker, the homeless social worker. He said, well, we have interviews at 1 o'clock for people that might be accepted into the domiciliary. I stood in front of a group about 8 to 10 doctors, nurses, therapists, and each one of them asked me 1 or 2 questions. Call me back in, you've been accepted into the domiciliary program. It's a 4-month homeless program, but there's a waiting list, so you have to wait for about 30 days. And I was content with that. I knew, okay, there is light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a freight train. While I was living at the domiciliary, you know, thank God that program was there. It actually turned my life around. The caseworkers, the therapists, the doctors, the nurses, they all treated you with dignity, respect, and the most important, empathy. They understood. That's something I didn't get in like 29 years since I got out of the Marine Corps. Try to get away the weak things and build up the strengths that you have. And I capitalized on some of my strengths, and I found a job, security guard job. So I knew by the middle of June, I've been working, I've been saving some money, I found an apartment, and then I got interviewed for the HUD-VASH program. It's like Section 8 for veterans, VA, supportive housing. You know, when you leave the domiciliary, you're insecure. You're afraid of some pressures and responsibilities because you don't want to go back to your old way of life. But the HUD-VASH program was that safety net that I needed. There's resources available at the VA, and if you don't use it, shame on you. It's there, that's why it's there. And I finally woke up to that. And my motivation was my son. You know, when you look at your kid, I don't want him to end up, you know, living the way I'm living. Things gotta be better somewhere, somehow. I just had to find that way to make things better. And the VA gave me that way to make things better.